Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Tuesday talk. I have my friend Lisa joining us today. I'll have Lisa introduce herself in just a moment. Before we get into things, just wanted to cover a couple of housekeeping items. We love audience participation, and for our live listeners, you can ask a question as Lisa and I are visiting over the course of the next 30 minutes. So you can do that by means of clicking the Q&A button. Most likely it's on the bottom of your Zoom screen, maybe at the top. If you don't see the Q&A button, click the button that's a circle with 3 dots. It says more. Click on that, and then you will see the Q&A button. So if you click on that, a box will pop up, and you can type in a question as questions arise. And Lisa and I are visiting. So type in a question. There's even a little box you can click that says anonymous. If you don't want me to know your name, completely up to you, but we encourage you to ask questions because it just makes for a greater conversation. And for our listeners who are watching this on a recorded basis, thank you for watching. It's going to be great. Every time I have interviewed Lisa, we end these calls saying like, gosh, I can't stress enough how informative these calls are with Lisa because sales is a very important part of any right-at-home business. So it's packed full of really great information. So Lisa, without further ado, would you introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Thomsen, and I am the Director of Sales here at Right at Home. I have been here for 2.5 years, but been in the industry for, I was just kind of thinking about this, about 18 years in the home care space, and I've been a nurse for 30 years. So you do the math. Yes, 30 years as a nurse. So pretty extensive background in the healthcare and home care industry. So.
Okay. Got it. All right. So let's get right into it. So when you say you are the Director of Sales, what does that mean?
Okay, that's a great question. So my role really is here for this franchise system is to help our owners and all of their outside sales or inside sales or any of their team members better know how to talk about, go and seek different referral sources to drive more referrals and ultimately help our system serve more seniors. So we want to serve more seniors because we know we're the best at it. So my role really does touch all franchisees. It touches all of their employees because we know that each role in an office has some role in sales, whether they like it or not. I equate it to like a relay race, and so everybody has the baton, and each person does have a role in sales. So my role is just to really help that. And because of my healthcare background, a good portion of our referrals, the really great referrals that are consistent, come from our healthcare referral providers. So also my role is to help educate you all, if you don't have a healthcare background, how to work very closely with the healthcare system, what's important to them, how we become the best partner.
Okay. So knowing that our audience today are people who are interested in potentially joining the Right at Home system as brand new franchise owners with Right at Home, many of which have never been a franchisee before, have never owned a business before, and also may not have any home care experience. So if you would please explain the difference between inside sales and outside sales.
Okay, so when I talk about outside sales, that means that I'm going to leave the walls of my 4 walls of my building, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to make relationships. So my role is to be responsible for making my phone ring. So I'm going to be going to hospitals. I'm going to be going to skilled nursing facilities. I'm going to go to home health care companies. I'm going to go to hospice companies. I might go to elder law attorneys, estate planners, communities. So I'm going to be out and about every day in my community, finding different people to go have conversations with. I like to say conversations versus presentations because this really is relational. And it really is more consultative when we go out and meet our different referral sources or potential prospects. So the outside sales is going to be out there building new relationships, identifying new people to go and establish relationships with to drive referrals and make the phone ring. So once that outside salesperson establishes that relationships, they build that trust, and then the phone rings, then the person that's inside those four walls is going to be answering the phone, which is the inside sales. So that they're kind of like your first impression of the person that calls. So they're the ones that picks up the phone and really counsels the person that's calling about trying to seek care for their mom, so mom or dad or their loved one. So then their job is to either sign them up as a new client or potentially get into the home to do an assessment. So when we go in and do an assessment in the home, figure out kind of what's going on. It requires a home assessment plus all sorts of questions to kind of understand what's going on and then how we can best help as a home care company, because our ultimate goal is to keep people safe in the home. So.
Okay. All right. So more follow-up questions for you from what you just said, and a frequently asked question that we get regarding referral sources. How do you assist brand new franchise owners with identifying, I just purchased a new territory. Mm-hmm. I'm a little unfamiliar with who I'm supposed to be contacting here in my territory. How do you assist with helping franchise owners identify all of the potential referral sources in their new territory?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So once you join the system, prior to coming to Residence Week, which is when we come for a whole week and we do a whole week of training with other franchisees that just purchased, you and I will meet, or we might meet as a group, but you and I will meet. And so we'll start by kind of identifying within your territory. These are the types of places that we need to go call on. So there's different ways that we can Google it. We can use the CMS website, which is the Center for Medicare Services. We can use ChatGPT or any type of AI, Google. So we're going to guide you as to these are the places that you need to identify within your zip code, and we'll make a list, and then we'll kind of go from there. And there's different strategies for each of these different types of referral sources because they all have different needs and different outcomes that are important to them. So again, all things that we'll review and will help narrow down. These are the types of people that I want you to identify within your territory. And then we'll rank them together. We'll map your territory, and then you'll come to Residence Week, and then we'll have a whole day of sales.
Okay, got it. So you mentioned different strategies. Do you provide guidance on those different types of strategies for the different types of referral sources?
Yes. So either we'll meet in person like this or over Zoom one-on-one, which we will. But then we also have a library of videos. So it'll be videos that I've pre-recorded, which I'm still doing for different referral sources. So you can join those as time goes on. But you will have a video series. I think there's probably about 15 of them now that have been created. So if I want to learn more about home health, then I can watch the home healthcare video, and it will talk to you about what home healthcare is, who the players are within home health, what's important to them, and then strategies about how to target them as a referral source. Who should I meet first? What do I say to them? How do I get from an influencer to maybe the decision maker? So it has all those strategies for each of those different referral sources.
Okay, got it. So this is a question that just came in from an audience member, and it has to do with rejection, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
So as we all know, when it comes to outside sales, you hit up some referral sources, and you're going to be told no quite frequently. So what are some of the things that you do to help guide franchise owners to help them kind of overcome that sense of, rejection and to ultimately get to where the referral source will consider them and say yes? So just talk a little bit about overcoming those challenges and how persistence is key.
Yeah, persistence is key. Persistence without being a pest, I would say. And yeah, you are going to experience some rejection. I would say as a general rule, though, the people that we're going and calling on are generally pretty nice people. They're social workers, they're case managers. So what I would say is you might not feel rejected so much as I just can't get to them. But then we have also strategies because there's lots of people within this industry that you can go make friends with that likely have relationships with those people that are hard to get to. And so that's all part of the training that says, okay, you can't get to this person. Let's go meet somebody that can. And then we're going to kind of pal up with them and have them introduce. There's just also other strategies that we can kind of work through together to figure out how to get to those hard to get to people. There's always a way. And I would also say that the best salesperson isn't the one that never faces rejection. It's the one that just keeps going back. So people have bad days. Sometimes it's just not there. Somebody isn't very pleasant to you and maybe they're just having a really bad day, right? So again, we'll just talk through strategies that there's always a way. There's always a way. Just sometimes it's just a little bit different path. This is a very relational sell. And so we just have to go make relationships with people. And then I would say connecting the dots between this person to this person can help me get to the next person.
Okay. So something that you said made me think of, thank you for that. And for whoever typed in that question, if you need more clarity, just let me know. But something that you said, the person who is doing the role of outside salesperson. So what is your recommendation on if it should be the franchise owner themselves, knowing we may sell a franchise to someone who says, sales is not my strong suit, and I'm just not quite sure that I'm comfortable doing that. What our recommendation is on if you as the franchise owner should be that outside salesperson, and if not, then what is the plan? And if you feel like it should be the franchise owner themselves, why is that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think ideally in the beginning, it should be the franchise owner because you are the one that can go and as the owner, you are figuring out your territory, you're figuring out the different referral sources. And I can promise you, nobody's going to love your business more than you. But I also understand that if it's just not your thing and then you hire for it, right? So I think that the decision has to be made by you. The non-negotiable is that it has to be done. So whether it's you or your first hire because you don't want it to be you. That being said, I do think that it's always important for the owner to have a pulse on their territory and know their biggest referral sources because within this industry, if you're hiring an outside salesperson, there's always a chance that somebody might leave. And what we don't want to do is have whoever you hire leave and then you be left with having no relationship with some of your top referral sources. So regardless if it's your thing or not, I think that there has to be some sort of traction by the owner within your territory.
Okay, got it. So thank you for that. I keep saying, let's back up. I'm just known for jumping around, so I'm not going in any particular order. I have so many questions for you. I'm jumping around a lot, but it's hopefully very relevant to and informative to the people who are listening. So, backing up to Residence Week. So you've already mentioned a couple of times, like, okay, we are going to meet prior to Residence Week. And here's what we're going to talk about before Residence Week. So let's talk about what actually happens during Residence Week, knowing that most of the people who attend Residence Week, shortly thereafter, leaving Residence Week, you are going to go home and you're going to open your business. But in hopes that, opening your business, you've already gone around to some of those referral sources in the area. So just talk a little bit about what happens during Residence Week and how you kind of prepare them to go home and really get going on inside sales and outside sales.
Yeah. So I will just back up just 2 shakes because prior to going to Residence Week, like I said, we're really going to talk about the importance of outside sales. We're going to be identifying all of our targets that we're going to want you to be going and prospecting. We're going to give you talking points of how to talk to those referral sources because you don't have your doors open yet. So sometimes that may feel a little odd. It's more just like I'm just going to go and be very curious about how those others serve seniors. But we want you to get in front of these referral sources because we know that it takes about 8 to 12 times to meet them before you can really establish that trust. and drive
Yep.
referrals from them. So we want you to get a jump start so that when you come to Residence Week and then we start really diving into these different types of referral sources, that you've been like, okay, I've met them. I can start to visualize like what conversations I've had, what conversations I need to have differently. And then throughout that day, unfortunately I only have a day with you guys, but we will really dive into home health, hospice, and rehab or skilled nursing facilities. So we'll talk a lot about how we're going to go target them, and what's important and what your day should look like and how many visits that you should be making every week, and kind of what that looks like. I will say too that we have kind of a cool thing happening here at Right at Home, that prior to coming, this next group prior to coming, we do have an AI sales agent where it's a persona that we're going to have you guys test out prior to coming. So you will be selling to an AI agent. It's in a very safe environment because nobody is watching you and you get to just practice. So inside sales and outside sales. So we're excited about that so you can practice. And then when you come to Residence Week, after all you've learned and after all we've practiced, then we'll have you try it again. So it's going to give you a safe space to have conversations, and really just help with repetition. So it really is all about repetition and learning how to speak the language. And so we're really excited about that.
Okay, got it. Here is a question that just came from the audience. It says, are hospitals, hospices, care homes that fall into the zip codes that make up your territory only exclusive for the owner of that territory, or can other territory owners also utilize those referral source locations within your territory?
Okay, that's a great question. That's a really great question. Because we know that within your zip code, if there's a hospital that's sitting right outside your zip code, they're probably referring in, which is why we really encourage franchisee relationships between each of the territories. So if you have a referral source, maybe like a hospice or home health or the hospital that will refer into your territory, we just want you to work really closely with the franchisee that lives within that zip code. And so we can help make those connections. It's part of buying into a franchise system that has that brand awareness, is that we should all be working very closely together to serve our community, whether it sits in the referral source themselves sits within your territory or their territory, because we always want to make sure that we're taking care of that referral, regardless if it's my neighbor or if it's in my territory, because we want the Right at Home brand to stay strong. So it will not be on your target list to begin with per se, but yes, when you will work with the local franchise owner within that territory, will help make those connections, because we want you to have relationships with them since they'll be referring into you as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And here is another question. They're asking, are referral sources institutions or potential customers?
I mean, I think they're both, but I would say that people refer, places don't. So yes, you might go to a building, but it's within the building. It's the people that are going to be referring, and they 100% are your customers. So I would say, yeah, I mean, you're going to go to a building, but it's not just the building that's referring, it's the people. So it's more about knowing who your contacts are within that community or that facility or that hospital.
Yes, and I agree with you. I would answer it as institutions are the ones that are going to be referring potential customers to you, the franchise owner. But as far as like residential homes in your territory where people live, those are customers within those homes, not necessarily that those are a specific referral source, a residential home. Lisa's referring to referral sources as businesses, people within those businesses that can refer customers to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, got it. All right, so let's see here. All right, so you mentioned during Residence Week, or actually prior to Residence Week, you're going to give new franchise owners those talking points, how to talk to these referral sources and what to say.
Mhm.
In addition to that, and I'm assuming it could happen before Residence Week, during or after, what about like the associated actual tools? So like when they go to a referral source, like
Yes.
you've already coached them on what to say, but are
Yeah.
there like what do they give them to say, all right, so I'm Jen Chaney, I'm the new franchise owner in the area. Instead of
Yes.
just saying that, is there something that you leave there
Yes.
with them, and
Yes.
what is that?
So I work very closely with the marketing department. So sales and marketing go hand in hand, but marketing is more the collateral and the things that I can take in with me as a salesperson. And as a salesperson, I'm going to be the one to have the conversation. So they very much go hand in hand. Um, in addition to the videos to learn how to go call on these types of salespeople, we also have key target profiles for each and every referral source. I think we're up to about 18 of them now that you would go call on, and they all have the same flow, and it all follows the sales process. So the questions that I might ask when I'm prospecting, the questions that I'm asking once I get an in-person interview where they're expecting me, I'm on their calendar, I'm so excited I get to go in, and I'm guaranteed a 15-minute conversation, or hopefully maybe even longer. What are some really great questions that would be important for home health care? All of them are going to be a little bit different because we know their needs are a little bit different, but these key target profiles kind of walk you through the sales process. They talk about objections that each of your referral sources might have. It talks about how you kind of what our value add is for each of those different types of referral sources. So how does home care create value for home health, or how does home health or home care create value for a hospice company, or how does home care create value for a community like an assisted living, an independent living, or memory care. And then it talks about how do I ask for the business, right? So we know it's important, that relationship is so important, but eventually I can't just be their friend. I have to be able to ask them for the referrals. So these resources for each of these key targets will be very valuable for you to have. I encourage you to look at them even before you come to Residence Week. So if you have questions, and then they will be your best friend in your car before you walk into a building, and kind of review them that way. We also have prospecting best practices. We have a lot of materials for you to review prior to coming. And then after you leave Residence Week, then we aren't done yet, because when things really start to make sense are when you're out in the field. So that's when you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's what I watched, or that's what she's talking about. So then we will start to meet, and we'll meet at least 4, 6, 8. I will still meet with people up to a year, or even I'm always available for anybody. I have, owners that have been in the system for 25 years, and I will connect with them. So, yeah, that ongoing support.
Okay, you are going to love this next question. I'll read it to you word for word.
Okay.
Here it is.
Okay.
It says, considering that there are many private senior care agencies and other competitors also working in the same area and fighting for the same referrals,
yep,
how do you stand out and beat them to those referrals and be their preferred agency? And will the Right at Home name help here at all, or will it be purely based on my selling power and how I come across?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. So I think the Right at Home brand definitely has power. But I will say that it becomes more powerful when you're a part of the equation. So again, it goes back to people like to refer to people, not places. And so it's all about you establishing that trust and that relationship with that referral source. And you're right, there is a lot of competition. In fact, I pulled a statistic from Activated Insights, and in 2025, so this is a little bit dated, there were 507,000 home care businesses in the U.S. Okay, but I would say that the differentiator is that maybe 20% of those have people that are outside actually establishing relationships. So that's why you want to be one of those people that are outside establishing those relationships. But the differentiator really is going to be you and how you show up, and if you're responsive, and if you're transparent, and if you are communicative, and if you understand what they need, making it about them more than about you. I think that my favorite thing is that I think when you purchase a business, if in home care, it's a really exciting thing of how you're going to be helping seniors. And I think we always kind of gravitate to back of what we know best and what we're excited about. And so we want to go out and shout in the world that we're so great and we give the best bath in town and we're just this and this and this, right? But you're really going to earn the respect from your referral sources when we can kind of settle back and learn more about them and make it about them and what's important to them. And that's how you earn that trust. But at the end of the day, the differentiator is really going to be, it's going to be you at first making the phone ring, and then it's going to be about everything that happens after the phone rings.
Yep.
Because you're going to make the phone ring. If you stick to the plan, your phone is going to ring from those referral sources if we stay persistent and consistent. But then we have to your mouth has to match your feet. Or your feet have to match your mouth. And so what we say is going to happen has to happen. And that's how you'll drive those consistent referrals. Okay. But I would just say you have to be out in your community and you have to be establishing those relationships. But a lot of it will be who the person is that is out there representing the brand.
Yes. Okay. That was a perfect segue into, because we have talked for 25 minutes about outside sales. I want to talk just a smidge about inside sales. So you mentioned, all right, you getting out there and hitting up those referral sources, it is going to eventually make the phone ring. So when the phone rings, chances of me, Jen Chaney, the franchise owner, answering the phone are probably pretty slim because I'm going to be out there doing outside sales. So the person answering the phone, they're the ones that are essentially in charge of the inside sales. The phone rings and says, hey, I've got somebody who needs care. So what kind of guidance or tools or coaching do you provide to help with that inside sales so that when the phone rings, what it ultimately can lead to is an in-home assessment and eventually a new client?
Yeah. I mean, this sounds really, really basic and you guys might all giggle, but answer your phone. I mean, that is very basic. You will get phone calls, I promise you, that people will say you're the third person I've called and you were the people that picked up your phone. Yep. So number one, answer your phone and answer your phone with a smile on your face, because it will come across even through a phone, even though they can't see you. Yep. And I think, again, it's sitting back and asking really great questions and never trying to pitch somebody. Most of the time when people are calling, they're in some sort of crisis mode and they maybe have thought about getting help for their mom for a really long time and they're finally picking up their phone to call you. And so you want to make sure that you engage them in the right way and listen and be that resource. And I will say this to you, that even if you don't come from the senior care background, by the time you kind of get through this process and get through Residence Week, if you've spent even 8 hours learning about senior care, you know more than about 99% of the population. So you pretty much can consider yourself an expert.
There you go.
But I think it's answer your phone, be that resource, and show empathy and guidance, and confidently that you can help their family during this crisis situation. So,
okay. Thank you for that. And time flies when you're having fun. We just have a couple minutes left. Lisa, is there anything that we haven't talked about over the course of the past 30 minutes that you would like to bring up to our audience today? We're going to do this again because I could talk to you for like several more hours, and this is information that people really love. But anything you'd like to mention before we part ways here?
I mean, I just think that one of the most important things that I hope that you will gather from this conversation is, getting somebody that searches Google and decides to call you. Those are kind of cherry on the top, but I can't impress upon you enough how important it is to be in charge of making your own phone ring. So we have a really cyclical business. It's like this. And we always want to know that we have a pipeline of referral sources that will continually refer. Instead of just kind of sitting there hoping and praying that your phone rings, we need to be in charge of making it ring with the clients that we want to serve. So, okay. And if you believe you're the best at it, then you should get out there and talk about it, because we want to serve more seniors.
Okay, so there was a question that came in, and I want to ask it before we hang up here because it's a great question, and it has to do with inside sales. And while we were talking about like answer your phone, so this person is asking, with inside sales, initially while you are building your business from the ground up, would you suggest to forward those calls to your cell phone as the owner in order to close those sales yourself?
Well, I think it depends on your hire that's sitting. I mean, I want you to be able to hire people that you trust, right? Because you're going to have to relinquish some of the control because you can't do it all you can't do it all and you can't do it
Yep.
all forever. So hire somebody that you feel confident and that can answer the phone.
Yep.
But I mean, at the beginning, if you feel like you want to take those calls,
Yep.
roll it to yourself, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah. But again, making sure that you hire people that you feel confident in their skill set so that you have a team.
That's right. Okay. Got it. Thank you,
Yep.
Lisa. This was awesome. As always, I appreciate you. I know you're a very busy person, so thank you for taking the time to do this.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, and I know that our listeners do as well. Okay. Until next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.